Alright, this is Bearded Appliance Repair. Today, we are working on a Maytag Bravos Dryer. It'll match a Maytag Bravos top-load washing machine. And what this guy is doing is it's just simply not heating. And we're going to get into it. We're going to test the heating element. And we're going to swap that heating element out. That's what the problem is on this thing, and you guys will see it all. We'll be breaking it down. We'll be giving this thing a good vacuuming and replacing the part. So we're going to get to it. First thing to do to get into this, you will need a putty knife. There's some clips hidden on the right hand side. There's one here, and then there's one on the opposite side, and you have to get this top off with the door open. If the door is shut, it will not lift up like it's supposed to. You'll see what I'm talking about. If you guys try to open it up with the door closed, it just won't fit properly. Anyways, before you go any further, make sure you unplug it, turn the breaker off, or whatever, because down there at that heating element, you do not want to get shocked. But yeah, we're getting this top up, got it lifted up, and you got the door switch on this right hand side here, and the easiest way to get that off is with a little pick. I got this set at Harbor Freight, and it works great. It's only a few dollars for it, but you just slip it in there, and that connection will come free. Then we got these two 5/16 screws on each side on the top, and then the front will come off. And all you do, once you get those screws out, you just lift it up, and boom, there she is. Once you get that off, you just set her off to the side. And from here, you can go ahead and test that element to make sure like that's bad. So we're going to get into that here in a few. It's down here on the left hand side. I've already been in this. You can see that lint down there. I got partially through this repair and was like, this would be a good one to make a video on for you guys out there. So yeah, this should help you guys out for sure. But yeah, right here, bottom left hand side, there's your elements. Those two front wires. You want to take one of them off. You could take both of them off if you wanted to, but I only take one off and get my meter and do a continuity test, and that's what I'm doing right now. You're supposed to be hearing a beep, but there's no beep, and they are touching, and you'll see it here. OL means open line, meaning it's a broken element. Really. So yeah, element's bad. So we're going to break the rest of this thing down, go ahead and replace it, and get this customer fixed up. So what we're going to do to continue is there's another wire harness just like that door switch harness you took off. We want to get that off. Same way as the door switch. Then we're going to get this exhaust ducting. There's supposed to be, oh, sorry. These top screws up here, you only want to get those out just a little bit so that panel actually hangs there. The ones on the bottom you can take out all the way, but if you go ahead and take all those out, you'll see as soon as you get that ducting off, that thing's going to fall down on you. But there's supposed to be a screw right there, but it's missing. I find it later in the video, but we'll get these screws out. If your dryer has not been worked on, there will be 4 of them, and they're 5/16, just like the other screws you have taken out have been. Yeah, get that lint trap out, and that will allow you to get that ducting off. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to clean all this lint up too, because this is pretty bad. But we'll do that after we get to the element and everything. So if you guys see lint like this on your dryer, get your vacuum out. Go ahead and vacuum it all off. Yeah, that front panel, the part that holds in the drum and the ducting, that guy's out of the way. So what's next here is getting this belt off, and I can't get a good angle here for you guys. It's a really tight spot. It took me a while to actually find one, so I hope I'm not making anybody dizzy with that fast forward there. But here we go. I'm attempting to get this off with one hand so I'm not blocking anybody's view here. And whenever we get this belt back on, you will have a better view of it. I'm actually got the camera in there looking right at it, but you just want to push that pulley out of the way and slip that belt off of it. And that thing is on a spring, and I didn't catch it whenever I got that belt off. Just slips out of my hand just like that. I mean, that's okay. It happens from time to time, but try not to if you can. But belt's off. So now we're going to get this drum out, and it'll open up everything for us. We'll be able to do everything we need to do. If you need to change the motor, you can change the motor. If you need to change the thermal fuse, you can change the thermal fuse. This will give you access to whatever you need. And as y'all can see, this thing needs a vacuuming pretty bad. We're going to go ahead and swap out this element, and then we'll give it a good vacuuming, and not have this thing bent down. I usually do that because I thought it was a different element. It's been a while since I've seen one of these dryers, and that's the reason why I thought I'd make a video on it too. I haven't made one on this particular one, but I take it off with that 1/5/16 screw down at the bottom of it, and then you just lift up that element on the front. Well, let me get the wires off of it first. And I mean, you pretty much just pull and they should come off. Some of them are real tight. You may need to get some needle nose or something to get good grip of the connections whenever you get them off. So they can be a little tough on you on that thermostat in the middle. You do want to be careful because I have broken those before, and those kits are like $50. So yeah, be as careful as you can so you don't have to spend more money on more parts if you don't need them. And oh, by the way, if y'all do need elements or a fuse or high limit thermostat on these, I will have those linked in the description down below for you. And I also have a phone number you guys can call. And if you guys want to order from us, you guys can. I'll leave that in the description as well. So, yeah, so that option's there for you guys. And I appreciate everybody who has used those links and everything. It's definitely helped me and my family out, so I do appreciate that a lot. But yeah, we got this element out, and it's kind of in its own cage, and I found another missing screw there on one of them thermostats, and I had some extra screws in my bag. We'll put another one on there so everything's nice and secured. But alright, yeah, now it is time to go ahead and replace this element. It's like I was saying, it's in its own little cage. So you got 1/4" screws, 4 of them, that hold well, I guess it's kind of like a sandwich. You take the top off the bottom, and the element's in the middle of it. So it's the ham on a ham sandwich, you can say. So we're going to get these screws out, and you also got to get one of the screws, if not both of the screws, out of each of those thermostats and fuse that are on the element. And this here is where I found that extra duct screw. It's a 5/16. So whoever worked on this before put a 5/16 screw on that thermal fuse there, and we're going to put that thing back where it goes. And I found some extra screws in my bag that I replaced it with, so everything's nice and secure. We'll talk about that again later, but yeah, we got it split apart, and that element just comes right out. There's the broke piece of it. That's what a bad element looks like. It's just a broken spring that heats up whenever power's applied to it. But yeah, we got the new element. We're gonna line it up like it's supposed to be. It's got 2 little tabs that you can slide in the holes, and it fits in real nice. Once it's down there in the bottom, you get the top piece on it, and you pretty much just put those screws back in. There's not much to it. The hardest part is just getting to it. But once you get to it, I mean, there's nothing to it whenever it comes to replacing it. So yeah, we're gonna get these screws back in and get that element reinstalled. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys watch it for a little bit. One other thing that I like to do before I put the element and everything back in, so I don't have to take this thing apart, if something else is bad, is double check these thermostats and everything. So you guys hear those beeps? That means they got continuity, and a good element will have somewhere around 10 ohms, 10 to 15. I mean, could be anything around there. I mean, as long as it's got continuity, it should be heating up. But right now I'm looking for something that's right in front of my face. And I'm also gonna give this thing a somewhat cleaning on these vents here. I'm just fast forwarding it so y'all don't have to, just watch it all. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean a little bit of this stuff up. I'm also trying to find some screws to replace those missing ones, and I'm just looking in my bag. I know I got some in there somewhere. I do finally find some. But yeah, I did find some screws, and this is gonna, I mean, it's not the right, it's I think a T15, comes off of a cutting grid on a KitchenAid ice machine. The new string, whenever you restring those things, comes with a bunch of new screws that I don't always use. So had one of those in my bag, and so I used one of them. And I had another, I forget what kind of screw it is. Maybe it's a sheet metal screw or something. Found another one of those in my bag, and that worked just fine too. As long as it's nice and secure, it doesn't really matter what you use. As long as it's not too long and, cause a short in the element or something. Nice and short, and if it secures it, it'll work fine. We lose screws all the time. But yeah, everything's nice and secured on it. And I forgot, well, I didn't forget, I just didn't see this little tab that you're supposed to put on the end of that element, and you guys will see it after I clean this, because I find it as soon as I get that shop vac out and I start cleaning it. I find that clip that I was looking for earlier, and you do want to put that on the element. I mean, you don't want that element to fall out, which I have seen before if you don't put that clip on, and you guys will see what I'm talking about whenever we get to it. But one thing I should have mentioned earlier, whenever you guys take the wiring off, just remember where the wiring goes. Me, I've been doing it long enough. I know exactly what to do with each wire. So there's power coming in on each side, so you don't want to mess anything up. So if you have to, take a picture of it or something, so you get everything back in the right spot. You don't want to short anything out. And this is the part of the video where we give this thing a good cleaning. I mean, we get as much lint as we can get with this shop vac, and it looks a heck of a lot better after it's done. Yeah, anything you see, especially anything close to that element, so get under the element, around the motor, in the element if you can. And this ducting, the ducting down there is what is bad. So if you have to, get your hand down in there and clean some of that stuff out. But get your eyes, get yourself a flashlight, take a look down there, make sure everything's nice and clean. The less lint you guys have trapped in here makes it to where you have better airflow, because all you need for a dryer to work is heat and airflow. The more efficient it is, the less power you'll use, and the faster your clothes will get dry, and all around well-oiled machine when everything's nice and clean. So that's what this part is. And right here, because during that cleaning I did find that little clip, and I'm going to show you guys how to put it on this element here, just like this. And you do have to tilt it up to get it in there to make it fit right, and it's a tighter fit when that thing's on there too. So if that element falls out and it's heating down there at the bottom, I mean, that's just a potential fire hazard. So make sure you guys get those clips back on there. So that's that clip I was talking about. That's all on there, back together, and then we're going to start putting the drum back in. I'm going to set the camera down over here and show you guys how to put this this belt back on. There's me and my mask with this COVID-19 stuff. Yeah, but there's that pulley, and then the motor pulley, or the idler in the motor pulley. Gonna get that drum into place. Get this belt around. Lift that idler pulley up, and it's a tight fit over here. It took me a little bit to get it around that motor, so I had to give it enough slack to get that belt on the other side of that pulley. Just wrap it around, and that's it. Belt's on. And whenever I do get these belts on and everything seems to be okay, I always give this drum a turn. You don't want to get everything back together, turn the dryer on, the drum starts to turn, and then the belt falls off, because then you got to take it all apart again just to get the belt back on. So I always give this drum a good little turn. Doesn't take too long, and if it pops right back off on you, you can get that thing on again. Not much. I mean, it saves you time, so it's a good little tip for you. Hope you guys use it. But belt's in place. Nothing's falling apart. So now we're going to get this front piece on here, and I did not get a good view of it. And there's rollers on these, so you want to try and get the rollers on between the drum and the piece you're actually putting on. And there's those screws on top again that you can hang it off of. And I didn't get it on the wheels on the bottom, but all you have to do is just get in there. I tried to get a good view of it, but didn't work out that well. But give that drum another good turn, and it should fall right into place for you. So that guy's in there. She's spinning like she's supposed to. Now we're gonna get this ducting on. And these wire harnesses too, guys, you want to hook those up too, because that harness I just plugged in just now, that guy is for your auto sensing. So whenever you have it on the auto run, where it runs and shuts off whenever things are dry, if you don't have that connected and you have it on auto dry, it'll think everything's dry, and it'll only run for about 5-10 minutes or so. So if you run into that, you got to take this thing off, get back down in there, and hook that harness back up. So just remember to do that so you don't run into other problems, during this repair. But we found that extra screw on that high limit thermostat. So this thing will have 4 screws now, and this is probably one reason why there's so much lint inside this dryer. As this thing's, drying clothes and lint's going through the ducting and everything, it was probably just slipping out of there because that screw wasn't there. So, whenever screws come to ducting, you want to put those things in, just so you don't get lint everywhere. So this thing's got 4 screws in it now. We're going to finish up putting the screws on this part here. Get the lint screen back in there. And that thing fits better too because all that lint's out of there. Now we just got to put the front on. There's a little trick to this part too, and I'll show you here, but it's only secured by screws on the top. On the bottom, there's these little slip clip things, and I'll point to it here. The clip's on the dryer side right there, and then there's a hole on the left hand side where my thumb is. And what you do is you just line it up, lift the door up a little bit, and it should push right in, and then you push her down. And then you do the same thing on the left hand side. Not much to it, as long as you know the technique, and as long as everything's lined up. Line it up, push her down, get that harness connected for the door switch. If you don't get that connected, you'll try to turn your dryer on, and it won't turn on. It won't run unless the door's shut, and it won't sense the door shut unless that harness is connected. So make sure you get that harness connected. Get these screws back in, and whenever you lower this top down, remember that door's got to be open. If it's not open, it's going to hit the door. And I'll actually show you what I'm talking about here too. The doors, boom. The top lands right on the door if the door's shut. And that's why I was saying at the beginning too, the door needs to be open to get that top off. But you get that top in, you just push it down. The clips will snap, and she's pretty much ready to go. We're going to run her for a little bit, get this thing back to where it needs to be. Try not to kink anything back there. That ducting probably should be a little bit shorter too. I'm just not realizing it until I'm editing this video right now. But after it runs for a little bit, you open the door. You'll feel some heat, and it'll smell a little bad too. But that will go away. That's what new elements are. They got that initial burn off from that oil. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's this heating element change out on this. So if this helps, give me a like, subscribe, and I appreciate y'all watching.